Obviously, today's time is a tough time to be in law enforcement, and at this time, I'd like to introduce Governor Bruce Rauner.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor for me to come over here today. I wanted to come over from Springfield specifically just to say thank you, to each and every one of you. Thank you for your dedication to keeping the people of Illinois safe, and many of you are from other states, to keep the people of your states safe. You put your lives on the line to protect us. You put your personal safety at risk every day. We owe you an incredible debt of gratitude. And I personally, and our administration, I want to say thank you. We stand with you in every regard. We live in extraordinarily dangerous times, more dangerous than maybe ever in American history, I don't know. Between terrorists trying to operate on American soil and violent gangs operating in so many of our communities, on top of the typical criminal activity, illegal activity that you deal with day in, day out in your jobs. We live in extraordinarily dangerous times. And you're under incredible pressure and scrutiny and challenge and criticism. It drives me nuts, I got to tell you, the criticism that hard-working law enforcement officers get in the press for some members in some communities. To me, it's outrageous, and I find it just wrong. You guys are the best. You're our heroes. You are, every one of you, and you are the best of the best. You guys are here trying to improve your skills, share knowledge with each other, and strive for excellence. God bless you. It's outstanding. And that's why I wanted to come over and say thank you. You know, I'm trying to do what I can. I was honored to sign bills to try to help. I know how tough it is. I've got many friends in law enforcement, how tough it is dealing with domestic violence situations. And we here in Illinois signed legislation to help improve the training and get more access for training to deal with violent situations, domestic violence, where you have to come in and try to keep people safe and deal with the situation. Very difficult dynamic, so we've got more training opportunity there. I was also very pleased to sign legislation that basically now we're going to have in our driver's education classes, we're going to give part of the education is training young people, how should they react if they're stopped for speeding or for any reason, or there's a law enforcement there and they're a driver. How should they respond? How should they interact? How should they behave? What's appropriate? What's not appropriate? So important. It's a stressful dynamic, stressful situation, stressful for you, stressful for those in the car. And we got to do what we can. It's a perfect opportunity in driver's ed class to talk about that and get people early thinking about how they should, what's the appropriate way to interact with law enforcement officers when they do interact with them when they're dealing with an automobile. So that's a step in the right direction. I also have to say, I'm eager to talk with you and your leaders from around Illinois, around the country. What else should I as governor, and we as governors around the state, what other sorts of legislation or support can we bring to you? What would be good for us to be doing that we're not doing? I'll also say this. I believe we've put too many restrictions on your ability to do your jobs right. We've got some restrictions in Illinois. I think I've seen restrictions in other states. I'd like to know specifically from you, what are the worst restrictions that we've put on you that hurt your ability to do your jobs effectively? I want to hear about it and know about it and see if I can reduce some of those burdens on you. So, yeah. We've got challenges. We don't have enough resources, financial resources, at virtually every level of government, especially in Illinois. Some of your other states have financial challenges, but we in Illinois, I can't find a balanced budget going back 30 years in Illinois. We always spend more than we take in. It's ridiculous. But we've got wasteful bureaucracy, layers and layers of bureaucracy in Illinois that sucks the resources away that I'd like to give to you so you can do your jobs better, have the latest technology, and frankly, more law enforcement officers, more officers with more technology and more support. I'm driven to try to do that. I also want more resources in our school system because we're not educating our young people effectively, and too many of them are getting drawn into gangs, in part because our education system is failing. The other big failure in Illinois is we are not growing our economy fast enough. So we got more people in poverty. We got more people under stress because they have lack of good jobs, and we don't have the tax base to get more money to help you. So we got this vicious cycle going. Bureaucracy wasting money and low economic growth not generating money, and it's taking away resources from you, it's taking away resources from our school, and making all the problems that you're dealing with every day worse. And that's exactly what I'm trying to change in Illinois. And change is hard. I've been at it 18 months. It feels like 10 years. I'm living dog years. You know, I haven't been there long. Change is hard. Change takes time, but we're going to change it. We've got the best people in America, hardest working people in America. We've got the best location, best agriculture, best infrastructure. We should be booming. We should be kicking tails compared to Texas or Tennessee or Indiana or any of the other states where I've got good friends. We should be one of the strongest, healthiest, best places to live and work, and have communities where you are properly supported and respected and getting the resources that you need to do your jobs. We're going to get there. I promise you we're going to get there. I'm one of the most persistent sons of a gun on the planet, and we're going to get there. But we're going to do it. I'm going to support you big. And I'm all in for you. I want good communication, good partnership. You are our heroes. And your dedication this conference to making yourselves better, striving for excellence, to being the best of the best, I deeply appreciate it. And all the people of Illinois appreciate it. And that's what I'm here to tell you. The people of Illinois stand with you and support you. You feel like you got your wind in your face a lot of days, but you know what? We got your back, and we're with you. Have a great conference. God bless you for your service. We'll look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much.
She's still adjusting. Are you doing okay? I'm You ready? Okay. All right, good afternoon. It's great to be back in Decatur. I wanted to come over from Springfield today to say thank you. We've got a gathering of more than 200 of the best police officers from around the state of Illinois gathering here to learn from each other and study the latest, best techniques for policing to enhance the safety for the families of Illinois. I wanted to say thank you to them for their service. They put their lives at risk, put their lives on the line every day to keep the people of Illinois safe. I wanted to say thank you for their training, thank you for their dedication to excellence and enhancing their capabilities. I also wanted to say that anything I can do to help them, I'm eager to do. I want to make sure we've got strong communication between our administration and leaders in law enforcement. Any legislation that I could pass that will help them do their jobs better, I'm eager to do. This year I was honored to sign 2 bills, one to improve driver's education classes so we train young people when they get their driver's license, how should they interact with police officers when they do interact with them, get pulled over for any reason or have any other interaction with police officers, what's an appropriate way to behave, what should be done, what should not be done. That's important for both the officer as well as the safety of the individuals in the car. We also, I was honored to sign a bill to give more training for police officers for domestic violence situations. That's very stressful to go into a home or a family situation where there's violence and there's abuse and emotions are running very high. Very dangerous situation for everyone involved. We want to improve the opportunity for our law enforcement officers to be safe and to improve their training. So we signed that bill this year. We need more resources for our law enforcement officers. And I'm going to do everything I can to improve that. We need more money for schools as well and many of our human services. 2 things we're trying to do to get that done, as I think many of you know. One is reduce the wasteful bureaucracy, the cost of the bureaucracy in our government, and free up the money that we can put into public safety, put into our schools and our human services. The other is to more dramatically grow our economy. Our tax base is not growing. We don't generate enough tax revenue. And raising the tax rates is not the answer. That's going to decrease our growth. We need more economic growth, and that's the other thing that we're pushing. So I'm here to say thank you to these officers. I'm also going to head up to Chicago later today. I'm going to a police Gold Star family vigil tonight to say thank you to the Gold Star families for the service of their loved one and to pray for their families and for their loss. And thank everyone for their service. It's incredible what our police officers do to put their lives on the line, and we will say thank you to their families and support their families who've lost their loved ones. With that, I will also say, well, today's about law enforcement. It is also about reform. We need reform, and I am very, very disappointed, although not shocked, to see that the Supreme Court again refused to take up or reconsider their decision about redistricting reform. It's a tragedy for the people of Illinois. They're not going to be allowed to vote themselves up or down on whether we can have nonpartisan districts so we can have competitive general elections and restore democracy. Very disappointed in the decision that the courts have decided to leave partisanship into the way our districts are drawn. We don't have competitive general elections. It's one of the reasons our system is so broken. We have debt and deficits and unemployment and unfunded schools. The reasons come from a broken political system. We need fair maps that are nonpartisan. We have to stop this where, right, this election, 2/3 of the races don't have opponents. Democracy doesn't work when there's not competition and a choice and back and forth of ideas and alternatives. We also need term limits. We've got folks in office 20, 30, 40 years, entrenched with special interest money, not looking out for the people of Illinois. So those are two reforms we need, and I will never give up on trying to get those reforms. Now, given what the court said, we can't do it through voter referendum, now I'm going to push very hard to get the General Assembly. What the courts have said, if the General Assembly puts those things on the ballot, then the people can vote. So I'm going to ask the General Assembly, and I hope people here in Macon County and all over central Illinois will ask their legislators, put it on the ballot, put fair maps on the ballot, put term limits on the ballot, give the people of Illinois their voice and a vote up or down on these political reforms. With that, I'll open it up to questions.
When the Supreme Court made its initial decision a couple of weeks ago, you said then you wanted the General Assembly to address it. Have you been getting any kind of feedback from lawmakers as to what they plan to do, if anything?
I've been talking with individual members of the General Assembly in the Democratic caucus as well as the Republican caucus. In private, some of them are supportive of both term limits and fair maps. Some in private are not. And in the end, they're going to respond to what the people in their districts push them to do. That's why actually the timing is important in getting the message out with you all. There's an election coming in a couple months. And I hope, whether people are Democrats or Republicans, doesn't matter. This is about reform. It's about changing the system versus the status quo. And I don't care which party. This is about good government, and democracy only works with a two-party system. And I hope the people of Illinois, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, will ask their preferred legislative candidate, will you commit to giving us a voice? Will you commit to putting fair maps and term limits on the ballot? Just put it on the ballot and let people decide. I hope that, irrespective of party, people will ask that question of the folks who are running for office.
I know it's a couple of months out, but do you have any feel, are the Republicans going to be able to pick up any seats in the House or Senate this fall?
Yeah, I'm asked that all the time, and I do want to emphasize, I'm really not involved. People say, well, Governor, you must be involved in these races. I'm really not involved in races. I am involved in encouraging I want to see reformers come into government. I'm trying, we need fresh thinking, we need new ideas, we need new folks to step up. So I'm encouraging anybody, and again, whether Democrat or Republican, it doesn't matter. I work for everybody in the state. The state's broken, and it's hurting Democrats and Republicans. This is not a partisan problem. We've got a system, a machine that's got control of our state government. And I'm encouraging everybody who might be a public servant to get involved. I'm doing that. But I'm not involved in races per se, predicting races or advising on races. I'm not involved in that.
You're involved in spending on, whatever political contributions.
I certainly support and put resources into the Republican Party for sure. We've been a one-party state. Democracy doesn't work on a one-party basis. So I'm trying to have a two-party with competing ideas. Nobody's got all the answers, but we need alternatives, and we need a two-party system.
Do you expect to continue your own personal level of spending, or increase, decrease? Do you have any idea?
Oh, I don't know. I have tried to make sure we have a two-party state. That's the most important thing.
Have you had any discussions before? We're 2 months away from veto session. Are we going to expect to see any of your reforms at budget? I mean, have you had any closed meetings or groups with any leaders about what we can expect in 2 months?
Yeah, it's a good question. I have not had group meetings. I have had individual meetings with legislators. I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, they're sending the right messages. Of course, I was a bit optimistic in the spring. And the working groups that were meeting then were actually making very good progress. And I think we're very close to a deal. Leaders stop that. In the end, we'll have to see what the leaders choose to do. But I believe there was a good faith effort. One of the reasons we did a stopgap spending plan in June was because the members of the Democratic caucus indicated they didn't want to vote on reforms or a balanced budget then, but they would do that in the lame duck session. They were open to that. And they put pension reform front and center, and that's actually part of our agreement. So I'm cautiously optimistic. We need reforms in the system, and certainly one of the reforms we need is in the pensions.
Last question.
That's great. Thanks very much. Oh, you have one?
Has there been any discussion between you and the unions in regards to pensions? I know that they're still fighting for a fair contract. I mean, how has those discussions?
Oh, you mean with AFSCME?
Yes.
Oh, well, Right now, we're going through the agreed-to process. We got a ruling from an administrative law judge. We're digesting. It was 250 pages. I actually shouldn't comment on it right now. We'll have comments soon on that. There's an agreed-to process. You know, the good news is we have an agreement with 18 of the unions. It was fair to the employees, it was fair to taxpayers. I hope AFSCME will agree to do something very similar to what the other unions have agreed to. In private discussions with individual employees or small groups of employees, they seem very supportive of the proposals that we've made. I believe that they're fair and reasonable. The leadership so far has not indicated much flexibility on their end, so I don't know. We're going to go through the agreed process, and the next step is to go before the labor board for their ruling.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.